All over the United States, shelters are starting to become no-kill facilities. However, Shelter Survivors has taken a realistic approach to this new trend. This New Jersey rescue group, formed by Denise Richford and Paige Shovlin, has been fighting the issue of euthanasia for many years now. With the help of several volunteers at their side, the two have been able to focus their fight on saving local animals one at a time.
At Shelter Survivors, we try not for no euthanasia at all, but we have had dogs that, have congestive heart failure, that their prognosis is, it's only a matter of time before they're going to die. So we have put dogs down for health issues. And if there's severe aggression issues, well, we can handle it in our foster homes because we have the experience. So we may be able to keep it under control, but we don't want to place a dog with a family who may not be able to handle the issue and have someone get hurt.
Some people feel that no kill is not killing any healthy or adoptable animal, but they don't include in their figures dogs that are not healthy and are not adoptable. So they can say we have a 100% no-kill record. We are a no-kill shelter. There's a shelter right in this area that bills itself as a no-kill shelter, but that's because they euthanize dogs that are not healthy and dogs that they don't feel are adoptable. And they don't include those dogs in their numbers. So the public gets the idea that they're a no-kill shelter, and if they bring their dog there to surrender it for whatever reason, the dog's going to go live happily ever after with the family, and that's just not the case.
Sometimes the shelters become so overcrowded they have no cages left, so their only option is to start euthanizing. And we will get euthanasia lists saying, please help if you can, please take another dog if you can, because these dogs are on the list. And there's different reasons that dogs will be euthanized, and sadly in the shelters a lot of time it's because they're sick. They might have an upper respiratory infection, they might have kennel cough, which is something that can be cured usually within a week or two, but they're put on the list simply because the shelters can't manage all of it.
I know New York is one of the states that is trying to go no-kill, and they've cut down euthanasia, and I think that should be the goal, is to get it down as low as you possibly can. But if you've ever visited a no-kill shelter, a true no-kill shelter, you can see dogs that have been sitting in there for months on end, and they start getting kennel crazed, where they just spin in circles. Dogs are pack animals. They're not meant to be separated from people, meant to be separated from other dogs, living in a cage by themselves. And when they do, and when they live like that for an extended period of time, then severe behavior issues can develop. I don't think that's healthy for the dog, and I just don't think it's fair to leave them sitting like that. Their chance of adoption goes down the longer they're there.
After working with a prior rescue group for many years, Denise and Paige wanted to make a bigger impact on the local community, so they started Shelter Survivors.
I was involved in another rescue group for, I guess, about 7 years before Shelter Survivors, and I was the vice president there. And the organization just started going in a different direction that I just didn't agree with. Not that it was a bad direction, but it was just different from what I felt I wanted to focus on. They started focusing more on dogs from other states and puppy mills, and I just felt there were so many dogs in the local shelters that really needed to get out and to get rescued. So Paige, Lisa, and I, we were all involved in the other organization, and we talked, and we decided to start looking into starting our own rescue group.
I got involved with Shelter Survivors because I wanted a dog myself. I was ready to adopt a dog, and I definitely wanted one that came from a shelter because I felt it was important to help save a dog as opposed to pay money for a dog that's being bred. So I was looking online to find a pet, and I found Bellatina's profile. So I met her at their adoption day, and I ended up adopting Bellatina. I liked the fact that she was fostered in a home, so I knew a lot of information about her prior to adopting her. And then I eventually decided that I would foster myself.
With dogs continually added to euthanasia lists, the fight is never ending, but Shelter Survivors believes that foster care before euthanasia gives them a high probability of being adopted.
We have, I guess, about 10 foster homes now. We're a small organization. And basically, when people are interested in fostering, they fill out an application, and we give them all of the things that they need. If they need food, if they need bowls, crates for new foster dogs. We help them in the beginning to pick out a foster dog that we think would be right for their situation, and also something for the first time that's not too difficult, because you don't want to scare people away.
Well, really there's no qualifications except just to have a love of dogs. And what we want our foster volunteers to do is pick a dog that's going to fit in with their lifestyle. Some people like the big dogs, some people like smaller dogs, so it's pretty much up to them what kind of dog they're going to foster.
Fostering, there's a lot of rewards to it. You feel good every time you pull another dog. You know, when you first get the dog, they're usually scared, they're afraid, they're confused, they don't know what's going on. We don't have a lot of information, whether they're an owner surrender or a stray. We just don't have a lot of information about these dogs. So when you first get them, you know, you're trying to acclimate them into your home. And in doing so, obviously you become attached to the dog. And, you know, there's nothing like having a dog finally, you know, trust you and come up to you and really want to be loved by you.
So basically they keep the dog in their home for, generally it goes from about 2 weeks to, I have a dog now for 7 months. So it depends upon the dog. And during that time, if any applications come in for new foster parents, we help them work through new applications, interviewing people, and then home visits are done prior to adoption by the foster family, because they know the dogs best, they're living with them. And then they place the dog, and before they get their next foster dog, we make sure that the adoption is set.
But the hardest part about fostering is saying goodbye to the dog. So it's never easy. Every time, I've cried every time I've left a dog. I usually try to say goodbye the night before, and then usually when I'm driving them to their new home, they're usually sitting in the back, and they'll tend to just come up and put their head on my shoulder, and I'm kind of silly. I sit and I talk to them and I say, you know, you're good. I'm not abandoning you. You're going to a good home. And, you know, when I drop them off, it's fine during the home visit. And usually when I turn around to walk out the door and I look back that one last time and the dog's looking at me a little confused as to why I'm leaving them, that's the hard part.
Through a variety of programs from fostering to adoption days, Shelter Survivors feels that their plan of action in saving dogs has been quite successful thus far. By keeping their rescue group and foster program small, Denise and Paige are able to focus their attention on each individual foster parent and dog.
We want them in foster homes so that if there are behavior issues, we can deal with it and work it through before placing them into the home so that they don't get returned to us. So if they go into a kennel, we're not going to know how they are in a house. And that's really our goal, is to have them in a house so that when people adopt them, they know the issues up front.
And with Shelter Survivors, it's small. We keep it small on purpose. We all pretty much have the same views. And I think that by saving one dog at a time, like we do, we are making such a difference.
If people are looking to get a dog, I think that the way to go is to go to a rescue group or a shelter. So visit a shelter, visit a rescue group, because there are pedigrees if you're looking for a pedigree. And there are so many lovable mutts that just deserve homes. And I think that is changing in the United States, and you're seeing much more adoptions, and I just hope that it continues that way.